Hello, heathens.
Hello, Heathens.
It is our last episode of the season one.
It's our last episode.
Go us a whole fucking year, dude.
A whole fucking year.
We literally started the last week of December last year, was our
That's
first recording.
crazy. That's crazy. Because I thought that like the way I remember it, it wasn't until mid-January.
Nicole was in a fever dream the first couple of episodes.
And clearly I was. I just, nope, didn't even remember those.
I think it's also because we started, when we first started, like that first episode, I don't even want to listen to it because it's so
Benji.
yeah, it's very cringy and it's so bad because we were trying to do it with this being in the same room and the microphones just weren't working out. And like it was just like this
Hmm.
whole freaking thing. We were trying so hard to like make it work. And then it was like, we gotta find a different way. And then I feel like this when we started doing it the way we do it now, it just got so much better. And that's when it started kicking in that we were actually doing this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair because like I remember God, we did. We had so much. Well, we wanted to be together, right? Like we wanted to be in the same room and to like have this like camaraderie and stuff. Plus, I
Yep.
think we didn't even realize doing it on Zoom was a thing yet.
No.
And uh I remember that none of our we could only do one microphone because then we had feedback and we had a very little table that we had to like put balance the
Guys,
whole world on.
think like TV tray.
Yeah. You had to balance everything on the team, both computers, microphone, blah, like all of it. Oh my God.
God, and like before we got into the flow where we're at now, like we were going through every little tiny thing about what we were going to talk about first. And like it was just so like we weren't as comfy as we are now either, where it was
Hmm.
like we were talking quieter and we were like kind of shy, even though it was just us. And and then people would be like, "Hey, I've listened to your podcast." And I was like, "You listen to me talk? That's
Don't
weird."
say it. That's weird. Can't
Like
believe you
people,
listened to something I put out there.
yeah, I was like, "What the fuck?" People want to, you want to listen to us talk?
Wait, what?
Yeah, what a weird concept.
That is weird. Yeah, I remember. And is Trauma still our like highest listened one, or is it the first one?
It's unfortunately the first one.
Oof.
Uh I'm on YouTube. It's different though because we didn't have the recordings for YouTube until Trauma. So we didn't, Trauma was our number one on YouTube. Right now on Spotify, our most listened to outside of the first episode is actually DIY house cleansings.
Oh, that's right.
People really love that because I feel like we got so much feedback about like simmer pots specifically.
Right?
Simmer pots
Oh
specifically.
no.
Everybody fucking loved those. And I was like, damn, son.
I love simmer pots. Anytime that I feel a little like, I don't know, the house is feeling a little bit like, ugh, I always just throw on a simmer pot and like, great.
So on YouTube, our most watched episode is Trauma. And then our second most watched episode
Ash, ashasha, ashasha.
our second most watched episode is with Mr. Rocky, Shadow Bear Reigns.
Oh yeah, that was a good one too. He's got
Yeah,
great stories.
and Lucinda was also on that episode with us when we had the conversation about religion and spirituality with them. That was a good
Mm-hmm.
episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those are our two most watched on YouTube.
Well, that's amazing, and I'm proud of us.
I am too, like I feel like people we were actually we had when this comes out, it'll be, what, the 27th, I think is next week or 2020 28th. but it's the Thursday before, of course. We always record the week before. And so this last Sunday, we had Yule dinner with our spiritual family, and we were talking all about social media and stuff and being a content creator and being an influencer and like
Mm-hmm.
how even just us doing what we're doing, it's just not, it's been so rewarding, but it's been nice to feel that reward because it's not as simple as just like, hey, let's pop on there and record really quick. It's like it takes research for what we're doing and it takes time of like,
Mm-hmm.
gaining that knowledge to talk. And also it takes time. It takes
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And it's cool to see like the reward of it. Just like even just in people alone. And to see
Mm-hmm.
like have people come back and be like, dude, that episode, like some of the things like oh, they'll say something specific that changed like their view on things or like help open
Mm-hmm.
their mind and now they think so differently or like they have all these tools now to help like them in their normal day-to-day life, even just simmer pots, I'm always like, it's just so cool. It's cool to see. It's
Yeah. It's so weird because I feel like um for me it's very like I do this with you and then I like have the rest of my life. I don't really like think about it so much in and I feel like a lot of my clients don't necessarily listen to podcasts like they're not in that um
that realm, I guess you could say, right?
yeah, I mean that's really what I was gonna say. It's realm, but like they're not in that realm of like listening. So I don't like have a lot of people, but your clients, they're always like very cool about like, oh, I heard this, da da da.
Yeah, I
And then
got a
we've
lot
had,
of millennials in my chair too, and fucking
uh-huh,
millennials love a good podcast, B.
right.
Fucking love a good podcast.
But that's
Yeah.
why we put it on YouTube too, so you can see it and stuff.
Yeah, and even getting feedback on that, people being like, I'm so glad you guys finally fucking put it on YouTube, dude. It's so easy. It's so much easier because people want to see us talk. They want to like feel like they're, you know, watching us
Hmm.
talk. We're part of the conversation. They're fly on the wall instead of just hearing our words and not having
Hmm.
something to like watch, which I agree. I like watch I fucking watch YouTube videos all the time. I mean,
Hmm.
it's where a lot of my learning comes from too.
No, same. I mean, I know we've had a deep conversation about like how people hate the internet or they think it's bad or all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, you're using it wrong then.
Yeah.
You're using it wrong because I have gotten so much. My life um with the universe has gotten so much better with the internet and technology. You know, even to the pact of like bill paying, like automatic bill paying,
Mm-hmm.
like that has like changed my game
Yeah. Yeah, I
because I
agree.
can, it's almost like they give me a thought and I can just pay it then. It's like, oh yeah, I can pay that, right? Like, 'cause I'm just not, I'm not wired to be that organized.
Same, dude. Same. I'm like, oh, that came out cool. Don't gotta think about it. Sweet. Thank you. I'm like,
Right, right.
works for me, dude. Unless I have to think about like bills specifically, I'm good to go.
Hmm.
Yeah, this has been a huge year of growth for us and change and um I don't know, just a big pile of knowledge. I feel like I in a year have learned more than I think I've ever learned in a year.
Yeah. Not only like the stuff that we're researching, but like in life in general, right? Like,
Yeah, 100%. I feel like by the end of this, you guys are gonna catch me when I'm old. Like I'm probably gonna be even more weird because the more that I learn, the weirder I get, apparently, which I'm okay
mm-hmm,
with that. And I'm
mm-hmm.
probably gonna be walking around telling you weird shit about the universe, and you're gonna be like, look at that old senile lady that thinks there's fucking little beings walking around. I'm gonna be like, you can't see, dog. You can't see with closed eyes. And it's just going to be me talking about, oh, yeah, that's happening because of this and this. And like, oh, you got to do this and this. And then people are going to be like, what the heck?
Well, okay, so when our husbands die, I want to buy a haunted house with
Yeah.
you so that we can like uh, be the weirdest witches on the block.
No, ma'am. You're not giving the best part of this story. Nicole said, we're gonna buy a haunted house, but it's not gonna be haunted. We're gonna be haunting it. So like there's gonna be people that walk by. So we have to be like downtown where people walk. And she goes in and people are gonna walk by, and because we can do hair and makeup, we're gonna paint ourselves like ghosts and we're gonna stand in the window and we're gonna scare people. But then they're gonna think our house is haunted, but it's just us.
I did forget about that part.
I
Yes,
didn't.
I want to be I want to be 90 up into the window like
Staring at people.
if they'd be like
Yeah, just fucking creeping people out. Like,
oh, I'm gonna land myself into a home jet. I have big plans when I'm like 90 because I want to steal things. Nothing big. Like I don't want to steal. Maybe like if they were big, they would be like a car. Like I'd be 90 stealing a car and I'd be like, what? I just thought it was my own. I'm literally gonna end up.
I love you, but I cannot stand you sometimes. Yeah, I have big plans for when I'm old. I'm gonna steal stuff. Oh, fuck.
I have big plans. I have big plans. Fucking with the entire human population is really what it is. My
Oh yeah.
main goal when I'm 90.
I've said, yeah, the people are gonna think I'm a fucking senile, but I'm not.
But I'm not.
And you can't say anything because I'm old. What are you gonna do? Yell
I'm
at some old lady?
old.
Probably
I'm
can't hear you
old.
anyways.
Right? Or at least I'd pretend like I can't hear you.
So, Nicole, what were some of the most valuable lessons or insights you gained from like our season this year and like self-growth and personal development topics that we've covered?
Yeah, I feel like I can't really remember the first part of the year at this point, but the second part of the year was very much about um like roots and my family and like really coming to an understanding and not playing the victim and like rolling through those kind of like um either traumas or idiosyncrasies that are not necessarily good for my well-being, and then wondering why they're there and like what to do with them and having boundaries. And I'm still
Yeah.
struggling with that one, right? But like having boundaries to me was is so hard because to me it feels mean, right? Because I'm a natural born people pleaser.
Right.
So I feel mean when I tell you no or tell you something that you don't want to hear, or like the rejection is so loud, like so really like, oh, that feels mean to me, so I'm not being mean, those are boundaries. I'm like, oh, okay. So little things like that have really that I'm still trying to like integrate into my life so I can be, balanced and healthy and really take care of people that I love and nurture. Because if I don't have those in place, I'm not going to be able to do that.
Yeah, I'd say that's a general consensus this year from clients of mine that have listened to the podcast is boundaries has been a huge thing for people this year of learning how to you know, first you got to identify the trigger that you have, the trauma that you have, the wound that you have, and then you got to figure out what you need to do and what boundaries you need to create to help yourself to heal that, right? Because without those boundaries, you end up giving from an empty cup where you end up lashing out, biting somebody, and there's just a lot
Right,
that can
right.
happen, and it's because you have no idea where that boundary lies. And so I've heard that a lot this year. That like I said, seems to be a general consensus that
Hmm.
boundaries was a big thing this year for a lot of people after listening to the podcast. I think my personal biggest like valuable lesson or like insight would be that almost everything can be explained because of childhood trauma. I just
Right, right.
I never dug that deep into things to realize that holy shit, that comes from like childhood, or some hurt or some pain
Hmm.
or something that
Hmm.
happened. That was a huge insight. And I think my most valuable lesson this year would be getting into the four agreements. I think that has been my
Man, I'll tell you what,
biggest
you're
help.
right. You are right about that. You are so right about that because, like, God, because before that episode, I read the book 3 times. Like, I like consumed it, threw it back up, consumed it again, threw it back up. Which was great because I really felt like I integrated it into my fabric.
Mm-hmm.
God damn, that book.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were still going from there. That's why I was a long pause. Yeah, no, I agree. I think that just even talking about them, and giving out this like pretty surfacey scratching like explanation of them and starting to keep those in mind with everything has just made my life so much easier. There's so many times where it's like I realize it now and I can talk myself out of like a downward spiral when I'm taking something
Mm-hmm.
personally. And then
Mm-hmm.
I've been able to help my partner a lot more with like the not assuming. And then he knows now that it's not like he's not as taking it as personally anymore. He's like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, yep. Or sometimes he'll be like, no, I know this. And I'm like, okay, if you know that, then it sounds like you know what you're doing. And it's like,
Right.
I'm not taking it personally anymore. When my advice is like getting thrown to the side or you know what I mean? Any way that I could interpret that. So I feel like Four
Yeah.
Agreements has just helped me so much, so fucking much this year, like in every aspect of the word, like so much.
Yeah, it's such a great little tool, quick tool, easy to use. Because you're right. As soon as you start identifying the fact that you're spiraling out of control, you can stop it and hold it and be like, hey, why are we doing this? Am I taking it personally? And I am. I am taking it personally,
Yeah.
you know? And then even furthermore, you can ask yourself, why am I taking it personally? Right. And then also assuming, and it's so funny how like those first little bits when you catch yourself doing it and you're like, I'm taking this personally and I'm assuming, and you're like, fuck.
Hmm. Or like, I'm crying because my feelings got hurt, which
Hmm.
I feel like that needs to be rephrased. I've been working on rephrasing that of you hurt my feelings because truly I hurt my own feelings.
Right.
It's like I got my feelings hurt. It's like ugh, I didn't get them hurt. You know what I mean? I just haven't found the right verbiage for that yet, but even just repeating to myself, you're taking this personally, you're taking this personally, you're taking this personally.
Hmm.
It starts to pull me
Hmm.
higher and higher up, back up to the surface where I was drowning before. And so,
Hmm.
yeah, the Four
I would
Agreements
say,
fucking changed my life.
seriously. Well, it gets us out of those trenches, that we've made. So, and I feel like that's another thing that's really come up is that realizing the pattern when it happened and then trying to deviate from that pattern. Like,
Yeah,
oh, wait, I'm in a trench. Let me climb out of this. Like, it's been really helpful for that part too, is really changing that kind of place.
fuck yeah, dude. So, what are some of the most memorable moments or episodes from this season, would you say for you? I have a few that
Hmm.
just rip right in.
What are yours?
Some of them are funny, some of them are good. What the funny ones that were I'll never forget it. It's in my fucking bank of like things to pull out is Big Peanut Girls.
Big, big
flesh
girls with
pockets.
flesh pockets.
And kangaroos are fucking Australian werewolves. I can't believe I said that live with you guys. Like freaking A, dude. I
Kangaroos are
now,
the freaky, they're like men with different heads.
bruh, the
I still would
the
want one.
drawings of werewolves where they're all fucking buff as shit. They look like a 6'6" guy with a fucking wolf body, but they're humanoid. That is exactly what kangaroos look like in real life.
Hmm.
The thing that has been hilarious but also kind of fucking awful about me putting that out into the world is now my friends send me fucking kangaroo stuff just randomly because they think it's funny and I'm like, oh.
It's just so weird because I never noticed that kangaroos were that buff until just recently. And I watch a lot of like nature shit.
Yeah,
A
dude,
lot.
you never paid attention because I know. There's this one video that haunts my memories when it comes to kangaroos, and it's this woman in Australia. They got floor to ceiling fucking windows that don't open, and there's like that reflective thing so that you can't see into the house, but obviously you can see out. And in the window is the biggest buff, like fake looking muscles, like literally like balloons are in its body, fake
Oh
muscles.
my God.
Kangaroo standing in the window, squaring off with itself because it thinks it's another kangaroo. It is terrifying. I'm like, I'd be like, burn the house, we gotta go. We're moving. Gotta get the fuck out of here.
Oh my God, that's funny.
I'd say one of my most favorite episodes and one of the most memorable episodes for me is going to be Trauma. I feel like I learned a lot in that episode. I know it's one of our
Hmm.
most watched, but it's also like one of the ones that I feel like I learned so much in that episode that I just didn't know before about trauma. I mean, it's not like we're therapists walking in here knowing like, all this history or all this data behind trauma and everything. And I think that that was just a really big episode for me.
Yeah.
And then I think another one of my favorites would be our conversation with the teenager. Felt like
Man,
that
that was so good.
it was really cool to have the baby on. It was cool to bring you guys a conversation with real teen, and obviously one that is very open with the two of us because we are
Hmm.
her people. And I just think it was nice for people to see a teenager open up and talk about things that could make adults uncomfortable and
Yeah.
adults
Adults.
adults. But I think that was one of my favorite episodes too, because it was nice to bring something that we normally don't see because it's taboo.
Well, that's the thing is like people are scared of teenagers because like I don't know what to, a lot of times I don't know what to talk to them, like what I can talk to them because I feel like I can get in trouble for being too adult,
Yeah.
like by their parents, right? Because you don't know what level they've taught them at. You don't know how like
It's
they're
like
like,
where
I
the
need,
parents' boundaries lie.
right. And I'm like, I need to know the rules before I talk to your son because I don't know what I can bring up and what I can't bring up. What's
Yeah,
appropriate because they're human and I don't see them as children, right?
right.
Like, and the other thing is that so then we do the same thing over and over again. And, we ask them, how's school? And when are you going? It's like when you talk to that one person that just got married and you're like, when are you going to get pregnant? Like it's like that shit. It's like, random person on the street, like teenager, where are you going to school? How's school? What's grades like? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was one of my
Mhm.
favorite episodes.
Mhm. Don't be afraid of teenagers.
Do
They
you
know a
have
lot, actually.
true that, dude? Do you have any like episodes that pop out that you love to do? Or
Well,
love
Four
that we did?
Agreements was definitely the best. Um, I really like death. Let me do death and dying.
Yeah, we did do. We did.
Um, I don't know. I just really like being on here with you.
Ew. Yeah, I have to agree. Yeah, those were,
No,
it's fun having every Thursday. It's like our own church.
yeah,
I mean, for
yeah.
real. It's like our own church. We come, we talk about new things that we're learning. We talk about things together. We teach each other. We're teaching you guys, but also Nicole and I get to spend time together. Yeah, it's through the Ethernet, but it doesn't feel any different than being together.
I mean, that's the main goal. All this other stuff is just so we can do it. Like,
Yeah, yeah. You guys are just here so we can hang out.
that's right. That's right. No, no, we're being productive as human beings in a society for our community.
Nicole's on her love and light shit today.
I am already.
Okay, I like this one. Did any of the hauntings or paranormal experiences we've discussed this season have an lasting impact on you?
Any of the, no,
Hauntings or paranormal experiences?
that, no, maybe.
I
Sometimes I
will
forget.
I
There's
will
a lot of stuff up here that like I have to,
think through.
right?
Yeah. When I think about this question, the only one I can think about is when we spent Halloween in New Orleans. That still gets to me sometimes because I don't know how to say I'm not terrified by any means when paranormal activities happen. But it is like it's a lasting thing that happens. Like you don't you don't normally experience shit like that, okay? On my day to day, I'm not experiencing shit flying across the room and banging in my house. Like, no.
Right.
Like most hotels I stay in, there's it's just kind of the normal shit. Like, but for some reason, dude, that one that has left a lasting impression that I will never forget. I will never forget that because, like, also with us going back to New Orleans soon and like staying in one of the most haunted hotels there, I'm like, well, I've already experienced it once. We're gonna experience it again. I'm excited, kind of nervous, but like not in a bad way. Do you know what I mean? It's more like
Hmm.
the anticipation of like, I fucking know something's gonna happen. I just know it.
Well, it's nice because like we'll be together. We sleep in the same bed, so it's not like somebody's gonna be like by themselves, right? Like,
Right.
and
Um,
you know,
so how did exploring pagan holidays and like mystic beings deepen your understanding of spirituality or like alternate belief systems?
it really made exploring most of it, all of it always makes me think like it furthers this whole validation of that all of it is together as one. It's spirit expressing itself. And we get these little like trends that go into each either holiday or like, looking at holidays, you're like, oh, German does this and this does this, da da da. And it's all a little different, but it's all the same. It's
Yeah.
all the core same, right?
Yep.
So I really like that because it really there's a lot of stuff that I inherently just know. And
Yeah.
it's hard because I don't trust it or I don't have, I- I've been taught to need validation about it, which I think that's another thing that the year has taught me is how to validate myself and that I don't need validation, which is really nice.
Yeah, I here, buddy. Here, because I would agree. I like, you know what? I could say the craziest shit to you, and you could look at me and be like, I cannot believe you believe in that, and I'd be okay with it. I don't need you to believe in the same things I believe in anymore. I don't need to be heard. I don't need to prove my point.
Yeah,
I don't need to like fight it or anything like that anymore because validation is coming from within. I know what I know now, and I'm comfortable with
yeah,
that, you know?
yeah. It's even gotten to the point where like, before you would have to be like, Now you and I do this because, this is what we do, but like I don't have to like tell a person this thing just to like tell them about it. I'm like, they're not gonna understand what I'm saying. So why am I saying it to them, right?
Yep.
And really, my thing was that, being rejected. So I would tell them, knowing that they would capable of even listening or understanding what I'm saying, and then be rejected. So it was that whole thing of like, why am I saying this to them when it's not for the ears that hear. Like
I
they
was
don't
just
have
gonna
that.
say that, sear it.
Sarah?
Words are hard today, as usual. But I was gonna say, they don't have when you don't have the ears to hear,
hmm
that was it's gonna everything I'm saying is gonna fall on deaf ears. You're not gonna hear it.
Well,
That's
yeah,
okay.
there's a lot of stuff that I hear that I don't understand, and I'm like you feel like a kid. Remember when you were a kid and the adults were talking and you would just sit there
Yeah.
and listen. Like that's where, but you had no idea what was going
Right.
on.
Yeah, I remember that. Mm. Um, I like this question because I feel like I can answer this one pretty fully. Um, were there any unexpected challenges or surprises you encountered by producing this season?
Um, any unexpected, I don't know, all of it. I love all of it so much that I can't like sift through any of it. And I don't know if there's anything that's like that I was really like surprised on. Um, what do you have?
Oh my
Any
God,
examples?
so many. I'd say when it comes to unexpected surprises, I was actually shocked at how much feedback we were getting just from people in our community, even like that listened to us. It was really cool because it was like one of those things where it's like, one of sorry to call you out, Rock, but I'm calling you out again because Rocky's taught us a lot over the
hmm
past, what, 2, 3 years that we've been with him. And to hear him listening to us and learning things from us too has been really fucking cool. And it
hmm
was kind of shocking that him and Lucinda listened to our podcast so religiously. And it felt so cool. And it was just so surprising for me. And it's not to say that like we weren't worth it or anything. It's just that, starting something new like this and having people giving us feedback, having people support us, it was shocking to me. I was like, damn, like I didn't think we were gonna fail, but I didn't think we were gonna know people in our community specifically that wanted this and needed this and wanted to listen to us religiously.
Yeah.
I
Well,
was surprised.
especially going to the solstice and stuff like that, the events they put on, and having people we don't even know recognize us.
Yeah, shocking.
Like that was shocking because, like I said, we do this for us. The fact that
Yeah.
people actually listen to us is like mind blowing, right?
Oh, it was so cool. Yeah, going to a convocation, that's what it was. Yeah. Having people
hmm
being like, hey, give me some of your cards. I'm gonna keep passing them out. And I'm like,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, okay, thank you. Like, yeah, that it was just really cool. And I'd say when it comes to unexpected challenges, I thought it was getting to be easier than it was. It is getting easier still. It's kind of like one of those new something, new devil,
New level, new
new
devil.
level, new devil. Thank you. It's kind of like that where it's like I did think before doing the podcast that podcasts were really easy for people to do. I was surprised at the challenge of um doing it every week with gusto and like
Right,
doing all the
right.
research that I wanted to do and like it was a bit of a challenge to get it into my good routine, especially at first because God, like Nicole and I lived full lives outside of this. You guys know that. Like
Oh yeah.
it's not like that's new. And so that was one of the unexpected challenges that I had was like making sure I was managing my time well, making sure that I was um actually staying committed. Instead of
Right.
being like, I'm too tired, let's not do it today.
Well, and that's the thing is like I know that's one of our like things is that we are very much jump in the pool kind of people, right? Let's
Yeah.
do it. Jump in the pool. We don't even check the
Head
temperature. We
first,
don't
dog.
know. Yeah, head first we go.
We don't go by toes.
And then like 2 weeks go by, the honeymoon period goes by, and then we're bored, and then it's like you pick up a new hobby, and then you're like, my attic is full of stuff that I have rabbit holed and then was bored of,
Yeah,
right? So
exactly.
I was a little afraid of that part of like us not being able to, not in a bad way, but just that we would like kind of fizzle off. It wouldn't be as exciting as we as it is, right? Like, but I'm so proud of us that we made it. And some of those would by the skin of the teeth, especially in the
Oh,
fall. There was definitely some skin of the teeth where we had like to do 2 episodes because the one was dropping literally 2 o'clock that day.
yeah,
So
yeah.
just those little like, and we made it though. We
I
made it. We
I
made it
think at
work and
one
we
point
did it.
we had three to do because you and I were both going to be off at different weeks and like
Yeah.
we try not to record when one of us is going to be off. We try to like do it before so that the person going somewhere can just figure it out or enjoy their time doing what they're doing. And
Mm-hmm.
that was a big challenge too. It's just like some of those weeks it felt like so much and I was just like, oh, and I know you were like that too, but we did it. And I'm like,
We
go,
did it.
go us, dog. Go us.
Mm-hmm.
We fucking
Mm-hmm.
did that shit. Um, I will say that one of the things that just popped in that I was like, we hear this a lot, but like people ask us, especially towards the beginning of doing this, people would say, well, what if you guys run out of topics? Dude, I'm gonna let you guys know right now. Two things. One, we have season two planned, which we'll talk about within this
Mm-hmm.
episode. But we have season two planned and probably have at least a year's worth of material outside of that that we could talk about at least a year's worth. Also,
Mm-hmm.
the second thing is that the more that we learn, the more that we can continue to add on to what we have previously said. Because I'm telling you right now, when it
Yeah,
comes to like
yeah.
some of our first episodes, like even just like family trauma, inner childhood, if I listen to that right now, which I have not gone back and listened to the episodes in quite a long time, but if I listen to that, I guarantee you right now, I could be writing down notes of things I wish I would have said on that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, that's the whole thing. It's like it's the more we do this, the more questions we have, the more research. It's evolution is what it is. The more that we
Absolutely.
evolve, right? Like you're gonna have new questions, new items that come up because of the distilling or, the separation of things that the more we pull it apart, the deeper understanding we have of it. And I don't know if we've really like understood that in depth until like we've been through a whole year of it, right? Like,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, one of these questions is making me think of this, where it's basically saying what's the most bizarre, unusual paranormal experience we discussed this year. And what I want to say behind this is I'm just going to put this out into the universe, and I hope that Nicole and I can have more content for you guys about our own personal paranormal experiences in the future because you guys get scared as hell by that shit, but you fucking eat it up, man. When I say, I had so many people that are like, dude, you guys, your stories just kind of freaked me out, but I couldn't stop listening. You're welcome. I hope we have
hmm
more in the future because, like, I also have fun talking about them because sometimes I just can't believe it's things we've experienced. And it's kind of fun to talk about, to be honest.
That is, I mean, a good ghost story. I mean, that's why the horror and the possession like genre of movies are such a big moneymaker, right? They don't
True.
even have to put good content in it. They just have to put a film out and people flock to it, right?
Fuck yeah,
So
man.
we're so interested in the supernatural, but we're so afraid of it as well. And it's funny to me because I'm like, at this point, I'm like it's just like we were talking about this yesterday with one of my clients because I was talking about the new exorcism movie.
So good.
And they're like, oh yeah, like that shit freaks me out because it could be real or something. And I was like, yeah, but it's rare. It's so rare. Like, it's not like you're gonna like watch this movie and become like,
Possessed.
all right. Like I did remember watching Amy Allen's, was it Amy Allen's the with a detective from New York? Um, I don't know, it's a ghost show.
Mm.
And she's a psychic or reader, medium, whatever she calls herself. But he's like a New York, a retired New York cop. Now, I will say, watching that, it was so crowded in my living room because I could feel how many beings was there watching it with me, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah,
But I
that's cool.
never like, and then knowing the sign, like I know the signs of stuff, and you and I have discussed this is like when I came back from New York, I'm like, what is in my house? What happened when I left? Like, what the hell? So stuff like that, that's kind of more annoying than anything where you're like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, it's like one of those things where it's like, I'm not gonna say that in the moment it's not scary and that I don't get scared because I do. But when I think about it, I'm like, outside of fear having any kind of control, I can think about everything within reason or slash my own logic to where there's not a lot that scares me anymore, man. Like it takes quite a bit. I'll tell you what, a good jump scare will get me
Oh yeah, all the time.
all the fucking time, dude.
Like the
Yeah. Yeah. But like I don't know. There's just that it that is definitely one of our goals, I know, is to help things not seem so,
scary.
yeah, scary, macabre, like far out, like too far away from you. Like, it's it's to help bring more understanding to the world. Like, yeah, do exorcisms happen? Do possessions happen? Yes. It's not like you're gonna fucking walk into your friend's house and all of a sudden they're possessed. It's not like it's just not that common. How many in your years of living, Nicole, how many possession cases have you run into?
Um, None actually. I think most of them were oppressed or obsessed, and then some of them were mental illness. Oh, that's not true. I had that one.
I was gonna say you had that one that was it could have been, right?
Right. Well, and again, that's because they fucked around and found out, and they gave permission. Do you know what I mean? Because we have free will.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that whole thing of like there's certain things that you have to do to like,
Get to that fucking point, man.
and ordering a crystal with a demon in it on eBay is how you do that. So don't do that. You're gonna be fine.
Yeah, that's how you fuck around and find out, dude.
Fuck around, and find out. I mean, I don't
I
know.
mean, I just don't know how many times I have said that this year where like I'll hear
Mm-hmm.
something and I'm like, that's my response is, yeah, they fucked around and found out. Like,
Absolutely.
and I was gonna say, what's crazy is like my clients, like sometimes they'll be like, dude, it's scary when you talk about shit like that. And I'm like, bruh, if it ever happened, guess what? You know, two witches pretty fucking well. I think you'll be fine, dog. And guess what? We have a whole arsenal of people behind us too. So like I think you're gonna be good, man.
Well, and that's the thing is like anything, I know that first of all, I always tell myself, and this is how I keep a little more grounded, is A, nothing's going to come my way that I can't handle. B, not only doing magic every day, and I think this is what helps about not feeling like you're powerless, is I invoke or met or like involve myself in magic every single day of my life. If
Hmm.
not every minute, hour, like I am, it's the only thing I want to do. I have no capacity for really anything else.
Right.
It's the only thing I want. And with that comes a certain sort of like, somebody last night I was leaving the shop at it was 11:30 at night, whatever, right? And she's like, "Are you going to be okay? Are you scared?" And I was like, "No." And we were just talking, and she's Christian, so she was like, when I say stuff like this, like she's like, "Oh yeah." I was like, "Listen, I've got three of the four archangels tattooed on my leg. Like, what do I have to be afraid of? Because if I'm afraid, why am I doing this?"
Also, in my logical brain, one, I'm tattooed. Jeffrey Dahmer said tattoos don't taste good, so I ain't worried about
Right,
that. Two, I
right.
have some pretty big, bold tattoos that make me pretty recognizable. So if we're talking about stuff like that, I think I'm good, dog.
Not only that, if I end up dead, girl, you better watch out because, you know, I'm just saying that this body is limited. But if I don't have a body, my spirit, man, girl,
You think
please.
she's gonna be a danger at 90 in her haunted house, still
Hey,
alive. Wait till
right.
this
You
body lets
wait.
the gates open.
Yeah, like I'm like, do it. Dare you because
Good luck, dog.
I told people because I talk a lot about death and dying too. I tell people, I go, that's why we're patchouli every day. Is so when I die, you know that I'm around because you'll smell patchouli. That is the one reason I consistently wear patchouli every day.
It's gonna be a smoky patchouli for me. I just know it. Like she
Yeah.
just had her cigarette too, and I'm gonna be like, yeah, yeah, y'all smell that? No? Oh, well, never mind. You ain't
Sucks
supposed
to
to
suck.
know. Okay. I got some fun ones before we get into like some big finisher ones. I'm gonna save those ones for last, but all right, Nicole, if we could have a celebrity guest join our podcast for an episode, who would you want it to be and what topic would you want to discuss with them?
Oh man. Do they have to be living or dead?
Can be living or dead. You know what? Let's
I
keep it for the living for right now, just because I'd like, because who knows, maybe this could happen.
right now I'm really into Jason Miller. And I would love to like pick his brain. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I have questions. Also a mystical rabbi. I really would like, I don't have any celebrities. These are things like I was like, God, I would love to like talk to a Jewish rabbi to like I have questions and I don't understand them. And especially how uh Jewish religion goes with Christianity religion, but yet it kind of like, I just, and I don't want to offend anybody. I'm just so curious about how like this goes together. Like,
Yeah. My
um,
I would want Teal Swan on our I would love to do an episode with her.
oh,
I mean, I just have what topic? Any
any of
topic at
them.
all. I think
Right.
any and all of them. I would be at a loss for, I'd be like, she wants to what? She
Oh,
wants to be on that, but she wants to be on,
I know.
dude, I'd be like, what would whatever she wants to talk, whatever she just wants to say hi, I'm fine with it.
Yeah. Like, even if it was just like she mailed it in, I'd be great.
I think my other one, if I had to pick celebrity is going to be Keanu Reeves. He's played so many
Oh,
roles that have
yeah.
had like such big meanings behind them.
Mystical meanings.
And
Yeah.
he's talked a lot about his different beliefs, and I would just really love to talk to him and like pick his brain, see where he's at, see what he's
Yeah.
experienced, especially in some of these bigger roles like Matrix and Constantine even.
Constantine.
Well,
Yeah. Oh, that would be great.
because I remember watching this interview with him, and they asked him, would you do another Constantine? He said, I would love to. There's nobody's picked it up. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh God, I love that man.
I think they keep teasing us, so I never know if it's true or not, but I know every once in a while I get another like, they picked it up, they're gonna do it. And I'm like,
Believe it when I
don't get
fucking
my
see it,
hopes up.
dude.
Right.
Yeah.
I also would like to do an interview with Know Thyself.
Yeah, so that's another one that I was going to move into next is that if we could do a crossover episode with any other podcast, which one would it be and what would the topic be? I was going to say know thyself too.
Yeah.
I would just love to pick their brains too. And like, I feel like we're two sides of a coin with them.
Yeah.
Not to say that, I mean, they are brilliant, brilliant, brilliant.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like the stuff that I listened to, I was like, wow. Like just the Halloween, the one that they did. This is the fall of like the sun and
Yeah.
how it integrates with like the fall of man. And I'm like, oh my God, it's so nice to expand my brain and like to have a deeper understanding of either questions I didn't understand or questions I didn't even think about asking. And they break
Yeah.
it down in a way that I can really digest it.
Yeah, they definitely changed my life for sure. They gave me bigger things to think about, bigger things to question, and they gave me direction when I was really looking for direction. Their
Mm-hmm.
podcast came at the
Mm-hmm.
perfect time for direction.
Absolutely.
I was gonna say I know for sure we would be dying if we got to do a crossover episode with them.
Well, not only
Absolutely.
that, like I think we were using them on Spotify, so I never knew what they look like, and their voices are very nice, like, and they're so loving to each other. I'm always like, "Bleh," like,
Yeah. I'm puking in the best way.
all right. And then like I think we saw them on their Patreon, and I was like, hot, dude.
They're beautiful people.
I was like, camera off.
Back to Spotify we go. Um, I really want to know your answer to this one. If you could have a superpower related to metaphysics or spirituality, what would it be and how would you use it?
Oh God, what superpower would I have? Think I would want like telekinesis,
How would you use that though?
where I could see something and snatch it out of the corner.
Mm,
You know, like if I see, I don't have to like physically, like it would be a way to grab onto things energetically that can't be necessarily grabbed onto with a physical body.
I like that.
I don't know if that's telekinesis, but like something like that, like something that I could like indivisible magic or power, like enough to make my energy go out and move things. Like, yeah, so there's
Yeah,
telekinesis. Yeah.
that'd be
Mhm.
cool. I'm like sitting here trying to think how I explain this. Because like I'm like, oh well, that's kind of like that. Oh well, that's kind of like that. But have you ever watched the show? You probably haven't, but have you heard of Danny Phantom?
Loosely. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, it was a kid's show when I was young. Yeah, and basically his parents create a portal into like the other world, and but when they turned it on the first time, he was stuck in the machine. So then he's half ghost, half human, and he goes into like this ghost form, and he like fights off ghosts and stuff. And I like, listen, you guys, I know there's fucking astral projection, and I know there's all these freaking things we could do, but like, I just want to be able to like. I would like to be able to jump into my astral body and like actually 100% it be like for realsies, not like, you know what I mean? Because right now that's not something I am
Well, so then he could fight ghosts then? Is that
yeah,
the,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and that's my point. Is like then I could help fight this shit off, more than I already am. Because that's why I'm like,
Yeah,
well, you
yeah.
kind of do this. Well, you kind of do that. Well, like blah blah blah. But
Yeah, but
I'm
it's
like,
cooler.
but I mean, I want you to be able to like see me in ghost form. Like, doesn't matter if you're a
Yeah.
believer or not, you see it, and all of a sudden you believe.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. No, that would be great. Would would you be able to like would I be able to see you in your ghost form or would
That's
you
what
like
that's what I'm saying. I want any and everybody to be able to see me because like I just think that that would be like, such a very useful thing to be able to do.
mm-hmm.
And two, that'd be fucking sick, dude. You could see me in my like astral body, like I'm a ghost fighting other ghosts and like it can help
Yeah.
everybody see what's going on. That would be so cool.
Did always want to be, I don't know if this is like a superpower or not, but I did always want to be like help the cops. I've always wanted to be like that person.
Oh, like
Not
a
like,
psychic, like
yeah,
the
yeah,
big brain.
yeah, like something that helps cops like, I don't know, find people or like solve a I've always been, but I think we all like kind of stuff like that, like solving mysteries and being useful, obviously, especially for things that are unknowable or whatever, right? Like
Yeah.
taboo.
I think that would be one, it'd be really fucking cool. And two, it'd be really like satisfying.
Right, right. Like save the girl at the end of the episode or whatever.
Yeah. Okay, one more fun one before our last like big ones to end this. But okay, if you could have a metaphysical themed dinner party, right? And you get to invite three famous people, living or dead, who would you invite?
Israel Regardie for sure. Um, are they people or deities?
People.
Um, Jesus.
Not shocking.
And Queen Elizabeth the first.
Mm, okay, I can dig it. I think to my metaphysical themed dinner party, I'm inviting Crowley. Don't care what any of you say. Don't care. I have questions. I have questions and I want them answered.
Yep, absolutely.
I'm inviting Crowley because I have questions. Um, Come on,
And he would
I'm
be fun at a dinner party.
fuck.
He
He's a
can't stay all
trickster
night.
dog. Yeah, like you can't. He's dead anyways, man. Come on now.
He can't stay all night, but he can stay for the dinner parties
He's
here.
coming
So
for dinner, dude. And I have questions and they will be written down.
I have questions. Mm,
At that point, I'd also invite Eckhart Tolle because
yeah.
you guys know I fawn over the man. I love his voice. Um, and then you know who else I would really love to meet and have at a dinner party like that is hold on now. Let me look up her name because I cannot remember it for some reading. Repeat, well, where's her name? Where's her, what's his name? What's his name? Okay, it's Siltra Milani, who has done a lot with her life. She's the one who wrote Feeding Your Demons. And she's done
Oh.
so much work within Buddhist and all these other cultures that I would really love to meet her and be able to pick her brain about everything she's done and what she's learned outside of just the book she's wrote. I
Hmm.
think she would also be a phenomenal person to have a dinner party with. Now, granted,
Yeah.
those three together might be it would be an interesting dinner party for sure.
Hmm. Well, hopefully, because if they get into a conversation, a deep conversation, we can watch like children, we would be like,
Dude, we'd be the kids at the table, huh? I'd be like eating, I'd be like, hold on, can you guys restart? I gotta hit record on my phone.
Absolutely. I think this dinner party is going to be great.
Dude, I freaking go. I'd be like, I'm there. I'm 100% there.
Absolutely. Mhm.
Um, okay, so the last two questions are gonna kind of help us set the themes for this next year. Because Nicole and I, of course, we are pre-planners. At least we really try hard to be, and when we're not, we are stressed out.
It's too
Um,
messy.
Seriously. So this question asks if there's any topics or themes that we plan to further explore in this next season. So I kind of want to talk to you guys about what next season's going to look like because we're going to be kind of switching paces a little bit here, which we're both really excited about. We're gonna start the new year off finishing some of the things we still feel like we have to talk about when it comes to personal growth and
Hmm.
um self-growth, personal growth, however you'd like to say it, as well as like shadow work. And then we're gonna be kind of starting to switch gears. So we're gonna get into um we're gonna end actually, let me finish this first by saying like we're going to end the self-growth, personal growth off with the four agreements, but a deep dive. And then
Hmm.
and then we'll be switching gears. And then
Hmm.
we're going into some fun shit, dude. We're gonna
I'm
be
so
talking
excited.
mystical beings and creatures, angels, demons, fae,
Oh,
fairy,
yeah.
egregores, grims, familiars, things like that. We're going into elements and along with elements, planets and like your fire sign, your water sign, earth signs. We're going to be talking all of the planets. We're going to be talking
Hmm.
moon phases. We're going to go into um we're going to be going into more of our horror side this next season too because it's something we're both
Hmm.
super passionate about. We're going to be talking like um the Warrens. We're going to talk about
Yeah.
them. We're going to talk about horror films. We're going to talk about cults. We're going to
Yeah.
talk about like things. We're going to go into like seven deadly sins.
Oh my God, I'm
Um,
so excited.
HP Lovecraft, history of
Yeah.
witchcraft, things like
Hmm.
that. So, we have a lot planned for next year, and it's going to be a switch of gears for what we're in right now.
Hmm.
What are you most excited about to talk about next year? Because I have a few that I'm like so fucking excited to talk about.
Oh my God. It Angels and Demons, I really, it's so funny the transition of like, you first tiptoe into spirituality, and it's always a fun topic of angels and demons, right? And it's one of those things that I never had to like not believe in. Like I've always just believed in angels way before even this, right?
Hmm.
And uh to understand them more like uh in depth and really connect with them and see how they can shift your world and see how they can help you. And even like demons get a bad rap. And I would like to really bring them forth and show people like they're not necessarily like, they're like, obviously there's pros and cons to them, but it's only because like your constitution isn't like strong enough to deal with them. So like, if you get one that's like a little greedy, it could really hype, and that's your sin. That's your thing. Like you could
Hmm.
really go over the deep end with that. Like you're diving in it to it all. So you need like a good like um but they get such a bad rap. And that's only a few too. And what they show on like TV is really not, they're like very lesser energy, like very lower. They don't There's nothing out there that really like, they're starting to though. I don't want to like, they're starting to like expand and be more in depth instead of just demons are bad. And
Yeah.
it's like, explain bad, right? Like,
Hmm.
So those are two that are like very dear and close to my heart, and I can't wait to like expand information on that.
Hmm.
But all of it, like,
Yeah, I think I'm really the biggest one that I'm really excited about, which is going to be most of the season, is us talking about planets and these signs because which we're gonna have to break down in the future even further. But I feel like astrology has gotten so mainstream, which is not a bad thing and by any means, because I think it's a tool that was given to us that needs to be used,
hmm
needs to be used with a D. Um, but I'm really excited to get into that and start breaking that stuff down because I feel like the more that we can understand about like astrology, the better we could understand ourselves too, because there's just so much into it.
hmm
And then I think that if we can start to get those basic understandings down, then we can further branch into other things because I mean you use the planets in ritual magic, you use the elements in ceremonial magic, you use
hmm
elements in ritual magic, so you use planets in ceremonial magic too. I mean, these are just things that you use as fundamentals for a lot of the different things than this kind of a world, as well as the signs. Like, you can use your whole chart for so many different things other than just like
hmm
telling you who you are as a person or who your soulmate is, quote unquote. It's like there's
Right.
just so much more depth to this. So I'm super, super pumped to get that like going for us because I feel like that is something that, it's hard to research, man. There's a lot of different shit out there. So,
Well, and that's the thing is you also have to use your discernment on like what's good, what like what's for you, what's not for you, right? Like
hmm.
so, and I think it's so important to like there's a lot of stuff that we can't see about ourselves. And I think researching the planets and your chart really helps you see those things in yourself. And then that way, because that way you can have the antidote and like balance
Yes.
it.
I'd say the other thing that I'm super fucking stoked about to get into is all this fucking horror side of us, man. Like
Me
getting into cults
too.
and getting into fucking awards, getting into horror films, talking about, I'm also excited to talk about angels,
Oh,
demons. I put that in with,
mhm.
some of it with horror. I'd say all these creatures we're gonna be talking about. We're getting into stuff that, for some could be spooky, but for me, I'm like, this shit gets me excited. I'm so excited.
Well, that's the thing is like recently I've been looking way back into things, especially because we got into water and I didn't realize how much water really meant in my life, right? Like the energy wise.
Yeah.
But like as I look back into my life, like I was like, oh, I used to draw sharks and fish and like for fun. That's what I
Dragons.
did. Dragons, like um I used to swim competitively. My grandpa lived on a lake. Like there's all the stuff, but also with the supernatural, because there was part of me that was always like, well, I'm fucking around and finding out. Like I'm dabbling. I need to like be more serious. And it's my own self-doubt like stuff. But as I look back, I'm like, dude, I was like, I watched Scooby-Doo. I watched, everything I had a tone of the supernatural in it, right?
Hmm.
So it's very interesting to me to like really like step into what I love and like it's almost like I forgot or I wasn't supposed to do these just because I don't know, like some spell or something like, no, I can't swim for exercise because what?
Right.
So it's been a very interesting, like just looking back and being really like stepping into like, no, this is what I love. This is what I've been passionate about. There's nothing wrong with it or, you know. So
I
that's what
agree.
I'm just really excited about. Yes.
Yes. Next
Yes.
season we're excited for.
Yes.
What I want to talk is our goals and aspirations for the podcast this next year. I'd say some of my goals for this next year are to get our Patreon rolling and
Mhm.
make more time for that because I'm really excited
Mhm.
about getting our Patreon rolling. That would also be one of our my aspirations is just to be giving to the podcast more because I feel like there's actually so much you guys that we could be going into and talking about or further discussing in within Patreon. And that is one of my biggest goals to get rolling this next year because there are some of these things that it's like, it could use another 30 minutes of us just breaking it down further instead of a whole nother episode in another year. At least
Yeah.
right now, and so
Mhm.
that's one of my biggest goals for the podcast in the new year. Do you have any other goals or aspirations for the podcast this next year?
Um, well, I hope we start really branching out and like meeting the community. Like if anybody needs help or readings or just divine guidance would be great to like really open up on like and help people more on the one-on-one thing too. So
Mhm.
like if they needed readings or like I said, just come over and cleanse our house and stuff like that. Like I would really like to um start with that. Uh Pretty soon I'm gonna, yeah, I really, like I said, I have this vision for us where we like are in our own like brick and mortar and we're like the witches that are like with their pestle and mortar making up something as people like walk in, like the craft, very crafty. Like they walk in and we're over here like, what? As we have learned how to light the candles from a distance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I
Yeah,
just hope it grows. The numbers. I want to express. Water. I want to seep out more.
me too.
Better growth. Yes.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of we're gonna be trying to get on social media a lot this next year, a lot more.
Hmm.
Trying to get like more seen, trying to talk about more things, trying to be hopefully helpful leaders, helpful people, confidants, things like that. We're gonna be branching out more, like Nicole said, steeping out more
Yeah. I
this
think
next
right now
year.
we struggle with social media because like we're in this thing about like um there's this thing about keeping you off social media, like it's bad and wrong, but it's like something you want to do. So it's almost like a drug kind of thing. Like people are using it like, well, I don't even look at my phone when I go home, or I'm never on social media, or like these things that we hear people say. And I feel like for me personally, it keeps me small because I'm like trying to like I want to reach people, but I don't want to do it through social media, which like is silly. So it's like a thing in my brain that it's almost like a spell that needs to be removed or some sort of like,
Block.
yeah, yeah, like that's the way I kind of feel. It's this inner struggle of like, I want to be on social media, but people think it's bad and wrong. Like that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah, I get it. I'm like, dang, man, my biggest goal this next year is to create more time for this, which we did it already, to be able to bring out a full fucking season, dog. Full season, full
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
So that's what, when we take our little breaky poo, that's what I'm going to be doing is start creating more structure in my life to have more time for things as my life has
Hmm.
changed a lot. So it's good. It's all good. But then once
Hmm.
I get more time, then I would also like to be reaching people through social media because I think also us just having listeners out in other countries feels really cool.
It does. I'm so
It's
thankful for them. Like,
me
that's
too.
so cool.
That's
Our
so cool.
little podcast has like made it to Greenland and
Greenland and like even India. I was like, fuck yeah, dog.
yeah, like
Fuck yeah.
what? That's so nice.
Yeah, so I think with that all being said, it goes without saying thank you guys a lot for joining us on our journey,
Hmm.
through the whole different realms we've touched this year, because it's been a lot of them. We're grateful for support and enthusiasm throughout this year. And, as we close this chapter, we want to express our deepest appreciation for your love, encouragement, and engagement.
Yeah. Thank you so much for supporting us on stuff that makes us scary. Like it's funny because we'll research things and go into haunted houses, but like putting yourself out there is so much scarier than like anything else. And I really appreciate the fact that we have a platform to do that on. I have
Mm-hmm.
you, I have you to help me, do this as well. So I'm not doing it by myself. You're not
Same,
doing it by
dude.
yourself, right?
Yep,
And
same.
then we have people that actually care about what we say, which, I don't know if I've ever really, I always have felt like my words have never had any potency. And it really is amazing. It
Heck
really
yeah,
is
dude.
amazing.
Well, and this is just the beginning, obviously, as we just talked about, we're going to continue to dive deeper into the depths. We're going to keep
Hmm.
going and
Hmm.
we're going to go until we can't go anymore. I mean, at this point, what I want you guys to remember though is that the journey of self-discovery and personal growth is never ending. And we're
Hmm.
honored to
Hmm.
have you by our sides in this. We want to remind you to stay curious, stay open-minded, and our next chapter is going to be coming soon. We love you
Oh my
guys,
God.
and the next journey
Yeah.
is going to be exciting. So till then,
So excited.
blessed day,
Thank
man.
you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, dude. Good freaking
Hmm.
year for the season. So, alrighty. Cool. Well,
Well,
we'll see you guys
that's a
next
wrap.
year.
See you next year.
Bye-bye.